if she was their kid, she'd have permission to punch back if administrators didn't do anything. I thought that having her live with me while she finished schools and gets a job would help heal some childhood wounds if my second husband and I modeled a healthy relationship. However, my daughter now doesn't get along with my husband. She is a very introverted, creative person who likes immersing herself in escapism. So she'd get annoyed if she was sitting eating alone and my husband would sit across from her and eat, saying she ate later so she could eat alone. However, my husband started acting distant from me and my daughter complained that his eyes lingered for too long. She got very angry and there was a lot of shouting and slamming of doors. Finally, my husband admitted he's attracted to her and it's hard to be around her all day. I said she was walking temptation and said that's why he was avoiding sex with me. I was so upset to hear this. I don't blame my daughter for this, but at the same time, the situation has become unbearable. Something would have to give, and I couldn't collect my thoughts with both of them still being in the house. So, I gave my daughter money to stay at an extended hotel and asked her to utilize our college emergency financial and housing resources they have for students in need. She responded by storming out and telling my ex, who is now circling social media, using it to paint me as the villain of all villains. I'm not abandoning my daughter. She qualifies for those resources anyway, since my ex is unemployed and we're in substantial debt. I just need time to process the situation and don't want to leave my house to stay with my daughter when I have a marriage to figure out whether or not to save. Okay. To me, I'm kinda like, it's kinda iffy because it's like, did your husband kinda just like kinda admitted to a little bit of pedophilia going on, or that he's literally attracted and called her pure temptation? First of all, that's weird. But I kinda just have to say you kinda are the asshole just a little, because I mean, why would you leave your daughter and keep your husband in the house? I really think that's kind of messed up that she chose to kick out her daughter over the husband, because it's like, wouldn't you want to like have him out of the house, because he's kind of the main denominator of the issue, because he literally said your daughter was a temptation and that he was was stunned. No one laughed. No one corrected her. My boyfriend just kind of chuckled awkwardly and changed the subject. I sat there in silence for another 20 minutes before excusing myself and leaving. I took an Uber home. He called me later and said I embarrassed him by making it a thing, and I should have just been chill, because she didn't mean anything by it. He wants me to apologize to her for walking out like a child. Am I the a-hole? No. I think it could have been like her reaction could have been different if there was reassurance, like he just chuckled and was okay, move on. But it's he didn't even reassure her, so I wouldn't want to be at the dinner being what does that mean? And thinking so much into it that I don't think she was an asshole. I feel definitely that would really make me overthink, and just kind of that kind of seemed to her too, just being talking to you down like that, being oh, cute. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh my god. Am I the asshole for not wanting to tell my sister that her boyfriend is the father of my son? Okay. Sorry, I'm really trying not to breathe into the mic right now. I'm trying to read this, but keep contained. Hold on. Am I the asshole for not wanting to tell my sister that her boyfriend is the father of my son? Hi, I'm not really sure how to start this. I'm in a really uncomfortable situation and would appreciate some outside perspective. Back when I, 24 female, was in college, I had a serious relationship with someone I'll call Luke, 26 male. We dated for a little over a year and we were pretty serious. Near the end of our relationship, I got pregnant. It wasn't planned, but I decided I was going to keep the baby. Luke initially said he'd support me. We agreed to tell our families and figure things out from there. The next day, he disappeared. No texts, no calls. A couple days later, I got a package in the mail with some cash and a short note that said something for the abortion. That was it. I never heard from him again. That is so messed up. That is literally so messed up. Why wouldn't he just be honest with her from the get-go? Okay, I was angry, embarrassed, and honestly overwhelmed. I ended up moving back home and raising my son on my own. I didn't tell my family who the father was. I just said the relationship didn't work out and that I didn't want to talk about it. They didn't push. Fast forward to now, my son is 2 and things are okay. I have support from my family. I'm working and I found some stability. A few weeks ago, my sister, 28 female, told us she was bringing her new boyfriend of a couple months to her birthday dinner. She seemed really happy about it, so we're all looking forward to meeting him. It was that goddamn MF Luke. We both immediately recognized each other, but neither of us said anything in front of everyone. I left the dinner early. I think I just felt stunned and unsure how to even process it. I would too. What are the odds? What is the coincidence? Later that night, he came by and asked if we could talk. He told me his parents found out about the pregnancy back then and they pulled him out of school and cut him off from me completely. He said they were the ones who sent the money and the note, and that he didn't know I'd gone through with the pregnancy. He thought I'd had an abortion and that it was weeks ago. I haven't told my sister anything, and Leek hasn't reached out again, but I've been sitting with this, and I don't know what to do. I don't want to lie to my sister, but I don't want to cause drama if this relation fizzles out on its own. At the same time, if things don't fizzle and he stays in her life long term, it feels worse to stay quiet. I've been avoiding being around them, which I think she's noticed. I don't think she suspects anything, but I also know I can't avoid this forever. My sister, okay. Let's see. I'm kind of like reading what people are saying. I feel like, okay, from like my mindset, I feel like I think she should just tell her, because like, especially if they do end up dating long term, like, what if like you tell her super late, and like that would be like a huge shock, because sorry, if like they end up in a really long term relationship and then you just spread it out on her instead of saying it like right away, you know, I don't know how that would like end. grossly humiliating my boyfriend in front of his whole family after he engagement pranked me. Alright, let's see. My female 40, now ex-boyfriend, Keith, male 38, and I had problems because of his constant pranks. Oh, I think they just mistyped. They meant me, female 40, ex-boyfriend, Keith, male 38, and I had problems because of his constant pranks. He has a thing for making his targets look ridiculous. I feel like I would be a little arc too. Like, I feel like I can be like so socially kind of like shy. So it's like if someone was doing pranks on me in front of people, no. I warned him many times that I'm not a forgiving person and that he was undermining my trust. He laughed it off, and I kept giving him chances because he has redeeming qualities. He's funny without pranks, acting like a good listener, and genuinely showed me deference. However, these traits began to fade away, and I don't know why. It kind of shifted. I don't know if showing him love made him think that he could do this. We never had fights, although we had disagreements, and I tended to clam up if I was really hurt. This happened twice. The first time was very out of the blue. We attended a gala hosted by our city council. I'm using the quotes gala because this is in a huge city, and galas are looked forward to, but are not the high class, upper class, and accessible type. He liked the way they treated us. I was the actual guest, and he was my plus one, and he asked me if I could help him get an interview, as he wanted to launch a small business, and maybe they would be interested. I made no promises, but got him a meeting that I attended along with him. On our way back, we stopped at a deli and ran into my ex, with whom I'm cordial. Keith was enraged because I answered my ex's greeting and said that I was too friendly and that it was disrespectful. That lasted for about 10 minutes. We sat at my place to eat our takeout and immediately said very inappropriate things about my best friend. I immediately called him out for trying to make me jealous. He laughed at first, but I asked what was funny, so he left and took his food. We talked about it later, but a few days later, I realized that he never properly apologized. Girl, run. I'm sorry, run. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh so loud. Second, he criticized my outfit and said that I looked ridiculous in it. Oh heck no. I should have dumped him right there, but I chose to put it in the back of my mind because I already had a lot on my plate. It's understandable. Career and family wise, I also held out hope that we could go way back to the way things used to be. Yeah. I feel like that's what happens a lot of the time, is like holding on to like that beginning. I was never able to shake off that feeling of being hurt, although we seem to have reached a very stable phase after that. He started with his pranking ways again. First, I caught him trying to hide the birthday cake that I got my friend. Then he hit the gas pedal a few times when I was about to get in his car. Okay, sorry. Last week, we were at his mother's house for his birthday party. Everything felt pretty normal until everyone got really quiet. It was just weird. I looked at him and immediately took a knee. This was the worst feeling. First of all, we had reached a stage. We had not reached a stage leading to engagement. Second, I thought it was likely a prank, but I didn't know how to react. I didn't know if he told everyone that he was about to propose, and if they were quiet and honest anticipation, or if they knew, or maybe some of them knew. If he was being honest, I didn't want to say no in front of his family, so I probably would have said yes and then no in private. is just true. Ousting him as a workforce failure in front of his family was too much, and that his family were thrown off. I asked what she thought I should do, since I'm not going to do anything to make him feel better, and that's that. And that if he ever tries to contact me, I will make sure things get even more painful. To be honest, I'm embarrassed. I stood up for myself, but I guess I went overboard, and maybe I should have just turned around and walked away. Was I extra for this? Okay, I honestly feel like you're not the a-hole, because I'm sure, like, it definitely was, like kind of, like, a sting, like, talking about, like, his, like, work, like, stuff in front of his family, because I'm sure, like, no one really wants to hear that about their son, or, like, you know, their brother, whatever. But honestly, that is something very, like, ridiculous to do to someone, and, like, humiliate them like that for something that is so, like, big for people, like marriage and stuff like that, and to put, like, a beer, like, tab in it is just, like, so degrading. And it's like, how would someone be able to, like, laugh about that, you know? And also the fact that he was, like, talking about how, like, attracted, like, kind of, like, talking about our friend in that way is also, like, very uncomfortable. So sorry, I don't think she's an asshole for that. I think standing up for yourself is very, like very important, and like, I don't think you should feel embarrassed for standing up for yourself, because he literally was just trying to humiliate you in front of everyone and embarrass you. So, like, don't be embarrassed, like, and, like, don't settle for something like that. And someone who starts driving their car away when you're trying to get in. No. Okay, this is getting pretty long, so I feel like I should wrap it up.